Board meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Well, Shelley is absent today. She is on a trip to Iceland, I believe, with her family. So Jeremy had mentioned that he was going to be excused tonight, as well as Mike. So everyone else is present.
Excellent. Okay. Proof of public notice.
The meeting notice was published in the Kewanee Star, or shared with Kewanee Star, as well as the Algoma Public Library, posted on the district website, as well as both of the school buildings.
Excellent. I'd entertain a motion to move approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Shannon, seconded by Chris. To approve our agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, approval of consent agenda as presented. We are going to be approving the regular school board minutes of June 22nd, the charter school committee minutes of July 1, bills in the amount of $767,996.66, approval of personnel actions, employment of staff, resignations of staff, volunteers, and a job description for the child care director. Any of those need to be pulled out? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approval of our consent agenda.
Also moved. Second.
All right, moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, next up is the board CISA 7 report by Treasurer Chrissy O'Connell.
So Aaron has been busy this summer. He's our director. He is meeting with all of the superintendents that are new to that position, and we have 6 of them in our CISA. So it's a pretty good chunk new to that role. Doing lots of one-on-one and trying to encourage that supervisor retention. So that's been really interesting to hear about that change and all the things they're doing. The NEWYA Youth Apprentice golf outing was super successful. It like quadrupled the money it raised. Kudos to Northbrook. I heard it was amazing, good weather, good time. So that was exciting. There's been a few resignations in school coaches there, so they're hiring for those positions, but still a really great growing program. I have a sheet for Jesse that shows the specific services that are given to Algoma, not just the stuff that we like pay for, but the stuff that you can access through CISA that we get for free. So it kind of shows the value of them. So I will get that to Jesse. They asked if we got the delegate assembly resolutions.
Yes.
Okay, and we did, good. And then we had to do annual training for Head Start topics. That's a requirement of being on their board. So that was it.
Any questions for Chrissy? Nope. All right, next on the agenda is a board president announcements by me. So in lieu of my announcements, I have 2 things that are the legislative update. The estimates for the general school aids for 2026-27 have been released. 59.9% of Wisconsin school districts are projected to receive less. Algoma is one of them. We will receive less for 26-27. And 38% are estimated to receive more, and 9 are expected to see no change. So we have a decrease of about 38,000. That will change based on our October enrollment. Kewanee is also going to see a decrease of about 175,000. Denmark and Luxembourg Casco will increase. Denmark will increase by 402,000, and Luxembourg will increase by 659,000. DPI is doing some work again, and this time they're going to develop a math improvement plan. So they're working with the regional group through the U.S. Department of Education to develop a state math plan to provide a unified, scalable, and practical approach to improve math teaching and learning. Also, on my announcement, July 24th, which is this Friday, is the Algoma Area Education Fund Golf Outing for 10 to 3. It's the first time that we're doing it during the day. We have been on a hiatus of doing that, so it is going to be a wonderful event coming back to raise money for scholarships for our students here in the district. Anybody have any questions for me? All right, now we can move on to public comment. Has anyone signed in for public comment?
Or none?
Okay. Next up are the administrative reports. First being the superintendent and business manager report.
Okay, so Amber will go through our monthly finance updates. It's quarter end, so she'll give an update on some of those, as well as a referendum finance update on where we're at with our last couple payments that are going to be coming due, as well as the interest that we've earned. And then Amber will talk about the primary aid that for 26-27 that Amy just covered. And then we'll jump into our strategic plan presentation, which is the separate slideshow. So, I'll turn it over to Amber.
Okay, operating funds. We have finished out the year. Everything looked pretty darn good. The one exception being our food service fund, but we kind of knew that already. All the year-end entries have been made. All that will be left to do is those adjusting entries that the auditors give us for the OPEB trust account and some other miscellaneous things that they do for us. The year-end transfers, we are not going to transfer any general money from Fund 10 into Fund 46. This is due to next year's deficit budget. We're going to utilize those reserve funds to help offset the deficit for next year. The Algoma Venture Academy Charter School did have some leftover revenue, so they sent a request to transfer their leftover money to Fund 46 in the amount of $67,590.69. So that check is ready to go to the bank tomorrow. That'll go into Fund 46 for their use for future capital needs. And then the general fund transfer to Fund 27, this is to help cover any of those costs that the federal grant funds and the state aid payments don't cover, was $1,145,936.31 this year. The non-operating funds, so our referendum debt, long-term capital, Fund 46, and then the Fund 49, which is the referendum capital. Our interest earnings were just a tiny bit less than Fund 39 than we thought they were going to be. We did have a budget transfer of $1,000 within the budget as a placeholder in Fund 46. So again, AB is the only one who's going to utilize that. The interest earnings were a little bit higher than I had anticipated in Fund 46 because we did not spend as much money this year as we thought we would. And then Fund 49, interest earnings were slightly higher than anticipated. The Bayland projects are about 75% completed, and we are hopeful that they will be fully done by the end of July, but it's most likely going to be early mid-August if we get our way. So some notes on the fund balance reserves for you. We ended the year with an unassigned fund balance in general fund of $4,108,000. This is rounded off, which is an increase of about $160,000, which was great. I didn't think there was any increase at all this year. That increase will be used to help offset the deficit for the 26-27 budget. The increase in that balance was a result of the Act 20 reading curriculum funding from the state came through. That was about $50 grand there. The technology department costs and supplies were less than anticipated or budgeted, so that was great. And then we had some wages and benefits that were not up to the projections in the budget. And that happens quite frequently with substitutes. We didn't need as many as we thought. Staff taking unpaid leave throughout the year, or not taking, if we plan for family benefits, then they don't take the family benefits. So we also had one teacher leave during the year that we did not replace. The Fund 10 restricted and assigned ending balances was $513,450.55. Restricted funds have restrictions placed on them from outside sources, so we don't get a say in these, we have to spend them on what they're for. The common school funds is that library money, and there's just shy of 7,500 there. The school-based mental health ended the year with just shy of $6,000. Last year it was around 23,000. So we're kind of using up the money that they've given us, and next year we're only gonna get 25% of what we got this year, so that should be gone by the end of next year. And then assigned funds are money that we designate for a certain purpose. That can be reversed at any time, but we are saying within our financial statements, we are setting this aside for specific purposes. The first one is for property insurance deductibles. We set aside $100,000. We do that because if we were to have a really bad storm and have roof damage, the insurance company makes us pay for the first $50,000 before they kick in. So we got a $50,000 deductible per building. So that's why we use $100,000 there. And then unexpected maintenance issues is $400,000. That was set aside years ago by prior school boards, and it's a great idea to do, so we just keep it out there.
Tennis courts.
Fund 50, the ending fund balance reserves for Fund 50 was $142,840. This is a reduction of a little over $50,000. The main reason for that is the cost of food was up significantly and our revenues were not enough to cover those costs. While we are within DPI guidelines for fund balance, we need to be between 33 to 67%. We need to watch these and adjust our meal prices every year from this point going forward in order to keep pace with the cost of inflation. Fund 80 had an ending fund balance reserve of $345,000. This is an increase of $168,000 from last year. Algoma Elementary School child care expenses were $6,500 less than what was budgeted. And the POPS child care expenses were $129,000 less than budgeted. Almost $100,000 of that is due to full-time employees not being in the center. So we budgeted for 4 full-time employees with benefits, plus all of the part-time help to fill in. And this last year, we had kind of a rough year, and so for the vast majority of the year, it was mainly part-time help with no benefits. So that's not something we can continue on long-term. It's not sustainable, so we do need to correct that, and we've started to turn that corner already. So next year, we will not have that big of a savings. District-wide, so the middle school sports, which is open to students from St. Paul's as well as our students, community band and wolf den, those are all things that are in the district-wide community. Those expenses were $12,500 less than budgeted. Then we also had the added benefit this year of the state renewing that child care bridge program. That brought in roughly $40,000 throughout the year, so that really helped bump up. We were not expecting it. It was supposed to be done, and they renewed it. We have got word though it will not continue into next year. It is now done. So the next few slides are just those slides that I share with you to kind of show you the trends of those fund balance. Everything's looking pretty good. We are at 43% overall for fund balance reserves in Fund 10. 39% is that unassigned, unrestricted funds, which is a really good fund balance. 25 to 35 is my target range for that. Fund 27 began and ended the year with 0 as they should. That is state law. Fund 50, you can see that real thick green line is the current year, and you can see how it's getting lower and lower compared to the prior years. So hopefully we can correct that in the future. And then Fund 80, this is the community fund. We are at 46%. I don't expect it to stay at that for next year. We're probably going to have some additional expenses to kind of fix some things up down there, and whatever else we come in, then the loss of that extra revenue from the state is also going to impact it. But it is in a really good position. Referendum financials. I'm running through this really fast because I know we got a lot to do tonight, so if you have questions, just play me down, okay? We began the month of June. Oh, I forgot to change my year on there. It's June 2026. I forgot to change that. We began the month of June with just shy of $3 million. We spent $112,000, earned interest of just shy of $9. So our ending balance is $2,834,201. Our expenses in June were to ACP Creative IT. That was for the Wi-Fi switches, access points. So we upgraded the ones that we had were end of life and beginning to expose us to potential issues. So we got those fixed up. Bloom USA was those smart TVs down at the elementary that the school board voted to approve. And then Thomas Electric was a pretty small one. And then as President Johnson told us earlier, our preliminary aid amount for next year is expected to be $38,000 less. What that means is more money onto the tax rolls, unfortunately. So this amount is estimated based on our budget numbers. It is not based on our actuals. They will not calculate it based on the actuals until October. They do have a spreadsheet that we can put numbers in. There are a few pieces that we won't get until August, September, like the equalized aid, or I'm sorry, equalized value of the properties within the district. So, but I kind of was playing with it today. If the equalized values district-wide do not increase more than 7.6%, then we will get about $5.1 million in equalized aid. So a little less than what they're telling us. If the equalized values go up more than that 7.6%, we will get even less aid. If they go up less than that, we'll get more. So they look at that as if your equalized value of the properties are going up, then you can afford to pay more taxes and you don't need as much aid from us.
Amber, can I just interject too? I always try to make sure this number stays consistent. We see year to year, 2 years ago we had a big dip. Last year we went up, this year we're going down a little bit. The consistency is what's important because that's gonna keep the taxpayers, what they're paying in, steady over years, right? When we get the questions from our taxpayers is, why are there big spikes going up and down either way? So of the districts that Amy listed, we were the smallest percentage change of all the other districts around us.
So things that play into that factor, obviously the equalized value of properties, as you said, the amount that we spend and how many students we have in the district. So that all factors into that formula and what we get. So that's one of the reasons using that Fund 46 to move any extra money that wasn't spent as part of the budget over helps. It helps kind of maintain this aid. But when you're facing a significant deficit like we are, it was more important to me to pull that money back and use it to cover that deficit. So and that's all I have for me.
Any questions for Amber?
Nope.
Transition over to this slideshow. And for the board, I did share this out with you earlier today, so you have access. If you would like to follow along, you're more than welcome to. We are proud to bring forward our 5-year strategic plan to the board for review tonight and potential vote. This has been a work in progress for many, many months, and it's exciting to see it finally all coming together and put on paper and giving us a roadmap of where we can head as a school district going forward. So you can see that this is for the 26-27 school year starting, going all the way through the 2030-31 school year. This was really developed with community input. You as board members were all part of that as well, but it was staff, administrative team, board, as well as business owners, local elected officials, parents, grandparents as part of this. So we tried to account for everyone's perspectives. So I'm going to go through this. A lot of this board you will already be aware of, but also want to make sure that the public is aware and we're fully transparent to the community on this as well. So we will be sharing the responsibilities of presenting this presentation out with our whole admin team, as well as Michael and Kathy Cook, who we partnered with, and I'll introduce them in a little bit here. But this really began back in November of 25, when you as a board took a survey and you looked at what are your priorities as board members for the school district. And you ranked these as the most important. So student achievement, proficiency and growth of our students, graduation rates, college and career readiness, student well-being, school culture, personnel talent development, parent and community engagement, and financial stability. So those were kind of our pillars that we used as we went through this process, keeping them in mind. So the strategic plan really defines the district's core mission, vision, and values so that our goals can provide a clear strategy for directing where the funding for our programming goes, how we're going to improve student outcomes, and guiding our leadership through continuous change. So we provided direction and focus by looking at 3 critical questions on where are we now, where do we want to go, and how will we get there. Those are the 3 things that we looked at throughout this whole process. We made sure that our resource allocation and funding and staffing and time met what the expectation was of the board, the accountability and measurements of how we're going to make sure we create our goals and measure them and report out progress. We took into account the stakeholder alignment as well as stability guidance. So like you said, we partnered with Kathy Cook and Michael Gallagher. They have worked with several districts throughout the state on different school improvement plans and strategic planning, tactical planning, and it's been a great journey working with them up to this point, and we're going to continue. But I want to introduce them. Kathy is a former superintendent from Hamilton School District, is that correct? And Michael is business owner, is that correct? And they'll be presenting here shortly on some pieces as well. But we had 5 initial strategic planning meetings. The first one was back in February 2nd. That included Kathy, Michael, and the administrative team. In end of February, we brought in the community, as well as instructional leaders, the board, and administrators. We continued then into March, April, and May, looking at the various stakeholders and bringing them in as well. So on the screen here are all of the community planning group members that were part of this work. You can see there's a list of about, I think, 25. I want to acknowledge and thank all of them for their work. They were invited tonight to the presentation, as well as they shared electronically a copy of the strategic plan, so they could see all their hard work kind of come to fruition. And Joan is one of our members right here, and Linda is one of the members, so thank you for coming out tonight. So, and we'll make sure I'm jumping ahead here. So the process we used for developing our strategic plan was we looked closely at the current reality. Again, understanding where are we currently at. We looked at that through the lens of student achievement data, our district demographics, and the community perspective. We did multiple surveys, input sessions with them to hear what they feel is working well in our district, as well as areas of improvement. That led to some in-depth conversations with our stakeholders on where we want to go. You'll see that kind of led into revisions for our district's mission statement, as well as adding a vision statement for the school district, and looking at the core values. What are our beliefs? What do we feel that every student should have, and how do we get that? Then we developed key performance objectives, or KPOs, which answer the question of how will we get there. So those are goals that we are going to measure over the next 5 years. Kathy, Michael, anything else you'd like to add about that?
Very good.
All right. Katie, you want to talk a little bit about the mission and the
Yes.
process that we went through?
Yes, so, one of the first things that we did with our stakeholder group was develop a mission statement. I'll read it to you and then, tell you a little bit more information. So the mission statement in its refined version, Algoma School District in collaboration with our community and families inspires academic excellence, cultivates resiliency, and prepares learners for success. It's a very succinct statement, but it definitely took a lot of fine tuning. We took a lot of stabs at it. So a lot of thought went into what exactly we as a district do, what we stand for.
And similarly, the vision statement went through a intense process, I will say. There's a lot of discussion about which words were included, which words were taken out. Eventually, you have to settle on something that you think captures what the vision of the district is. This is what we came up with the community input, and that was we ignite curiosity, engage and empower our learners, and connect our school with the community to drive lasting growth and positive impact.
All right, and then we came up with value statements that go along with our mission and vision. There's quite a few of them, so I'm just gonna read through them. We commit to inspiring learning as a continuous lifelong endeavor, providing a well-rounded education that supports development of the whole child and promotes excellence in academics, athletics, and the arts. Providing instruction that effectively meets the needs of students with various learning styles, abilities, and interests. Providing a rigorous, future-focused curriculum that challenges all students to achieve their highest level to ensure success in a rapidly evolving world. Providing high expectations and an environment that promotes risk-taking and collaboration to motivate people to strive for greatness. Demonstrating ethical and honest behavior and being accountable to promote a culture of excellence. Respecting, seeking to understand one another, and personal responsibility as the foundations for a safe and effective learning environment. Ensuring in our schools that all people are valued. Attracting, developing, and retaining staff as essential for achieving our mission and vision. Expanding meaningful relationships with family, business, and community to enhance learning opportunities. And utilizing talents and resources available to achieve our strategic priorities.
That led us to developing key performance objectives or goals. And again, you'll see the key areas or the targets that we wanted to focus on based off of your self-review that you took back in November of 25. So for achievement, proficiency, and growth, the percentage of students in grades 3rd through 8th scoring a meeting or advanced levels on state forward exam in ELA and math will increase annually, so the percentage will be at least 65% of our students by the school year of 28-29. And then our current baseline for this last school year 24-25 was at 37.9 in math and 42.5 for ELA. Next one, the percentage of students in grades kindergarten through 8th performing proficient or above grade level on the district's spring criterion reference assessments in ELA and math will increase annually, so that's by spring of 2029, 65% of our students will be proficient at grade level. Our current baseline for this is basically, we don't have one because we don't have a criterion reference assessment. So we'll be implementing STAR. We have used Ames Web for our kindergarten through 6th for reading and math, and that's aligned with Act 20 for reading. So the adoption of STAR will be new for grades 3rd through 11. Algoma's high school pre-ACT composite score will increase annually, so that by the 26-27 school year, the school will be at least 16.3. Our current baseline was 15.7. And the Algoma High School's annual composite ACT score, which would be our 11th grade, will increase annually, so that the graduating class of 2029 and thereafter will attain a composite score of 19.4, the state average in 2025. Our current baseline for that right now is 16.5 for the middle school, high school traditional, and 17 for Algoma Venture Academy. And then the last one is beginning in 2028-29 school year and continuing thereafter, Algoma School District and each school will attain an annual ranking of exceeds expectations on the state report card. Our baseline for that was 64.3, so we need about 6 points to achieve to reach the next level of exceeds expectations.
All right, continuing with key performance objectives, our graduation rate, which has been very good, we'll keep working on that and try to grow it to get a goal of 97% by 2030. And again, you can see our baseline, 93%, state average is 92%. College and career readiness, beginning in 27, 28, and continuing thereafter, Algoma High School participation rates for post-secondary preparation will exceed state averages for successfully completing dual enrollment courses, industry recognized credentials, and work-based learning. So you can see underneath that, dual enrollment courses, baseline was 38.1%, which is above the state average. Industry recognized credentials was a baseline below the state average at 3%. And the work-based learning, our baseline is above the average at 13.9%, and so that is above state average now.
And continuing on, additional KPOs in the areas of student well-being and school culture. For student well-being, beginning at the end of the 27-28 school year, 90% of Algoma students in grades 2 through 12 will indicate via student survey annually they feel a sense of connectedness, including feeling safe at school. And also beginning at the end of the 27-28 school year, 90% of Algoma students in grades 3 through 12 will indicate via student survey 2 times annually they have a positive growth mindset, including social, academic, and emotional behaviors, according to the Passbridge My Savers assessment. And then school culture, down below, beginning in January of 2028 and thereafter, 90% of Algoma instructional staff will indicate via survey they are engaged in meaningful work in their classrooms. Beginning in January 2028 and thereafter, 90% of Algoma staff will indicate via survey they have opportunities to serve on and provide input for school or district committees. And lastly, beginning in January 2028 and thereafter, 90% of Algoma staff will indicate via survey they are supported by the building administration.
Moving on to personnel talent development, beginning in January of 2028 and continuing thereafter, 90% of Algoma instructional staff will indicate via principal observation and staff surveys that professional development such as a PD day, after school sessions, in-service, PLCs, grade level meetings, book studies, conferences, etc., assisted them in using student data and delivering effective instruction. And beginning in January of 2029 and thereafter, Algoma instructional staff will communicate, post, explain, refer back to, etc., daily learning targets at least at the beginning and end of the lesson as evidenced by classroom walkthroughs.
In the area of parent and community engagement, by December 2027, 50% of Algoma School District parents who respond to a parent survey will indicate they are aware of opportunities for parents to be involved in activities such as conferences, volunteering in classrooms, attending parent meetings, and participating in school family events. By December 2027, 100% of K through 11 instructional staff will facilitate a weekly student engaged activity to inform parents of their weekly progress. By December of 2029, building participation and attendance data will indicate that 50% of Algoma School District parents have participated in opportunities for parents to be involved in activities such as conferences, volunteering in classrooms, attending parent meetings, and participating in school family events. And Algoma School District will create an annual inventory of school business and community partnerships which enhance learning, such as school-to-work experiences, job shadowing, career presentations to students, career day activities, staff tours of businesses, and etc.
And the final one is financial stability. Annually, the district and site budgets will align with strategic priorities. And then in the beginning of 28-29 school year data, feedback from families that open enroll out of the district will indicate that the majority are leaving for personal or child care reasons, not for the opportunity and quality of the district programming. So I'm going to pause there. Questions you have on our key performance objectives, our measures that we're going to be looking at over the next 5 years?
I do not.
Is there a reason we listed the ones that we're already hitting? Like dual enrollment courses, work-based learning, some of the graduation rate?
Just trying to maintain. I mean, each year can see some of those ebb and flow. I'll give you the example of youth apprenticeships. It's been an area that we've been trying to grow with our students in popularity, and we've doubled it the last 2 years now. So
I just don't want you to focus on something you guys are already doing good, because there's a lot of other stuff to focus on. Excellent.
all right, we'll move along. So next steps. Included in the board package for you that was shared out is the actual strategic plan, 3-page document. It's kind of got the gray background. If you can see, it's got the mission, vision, value statements, and the district priorities. And then the key performance objectives are the last 2 pages. So that's actually our strategic plan that we'll be asking the board to review and approve tonight. But moving forward, the work doesn't stop here. We are continuing throughout this school year to do tactical planning. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy and Michael and explain what that all is.
Well, we'll do a brief explanation and start by saying that the strategic plan, your mission, vision, values, and KPIs, is the long-term direction. It's over the next 3 to 5 years, and it's the overarching why that what's going on in the school district. Tactical planning, on the other hand, is really a 1-year identification of specific, correct, series of 1-year tactical plans that will help identify the specific things that will be implemented in order to achieve those KPIs and bring that mission statement to life and achieve that vision statement that you have. Strategic plan is fixed over 3 to 5 years, generally. There can be adjustments, but it's generally a long-term picture. Tactical planning is a 1-year, agile, nimble plan that can change based on circumstances, additional grants becoming available, loss of funding, whatever. And the tactical planning brings everything else to life. So we actually began that process. We have draft tactical plans already developed for the district level, and we met this afternoon for the first time to talk about how do we bring all that to life at the site level. And so over the course of the next several weeks, the administrative team and then staff together will be creating the how are we going to bring all this strategic plan to life? How are we going to move the bar for ACT scores or the state report card or graduation rates or whatever? So specific things will be developed, and they will be in the 4 pillar areas that I think Jessica's going to talk about next.
So,
Tactical plan is the accountability piece of all the work that we do.
so the district level, there are 5 priority buckets or areas that we will focus on throughout the entire district. This district tactical plan will be aligned with the site, the building plans as well. And so that's what the work that we're moving ahead right now. But the 5 priority areas are STAR assessment, adopting STAR assessment for grades 3 through 11. So staff will administer STAR and use individual student data to determine instructional approaches needed to advance learning. STAR assessment will give you a detailed report after the student has taken it on what standards they have hit and which ones they have missed. And it will kind of guide our next one, which is the instructional practices, where staff will implement best practices in instruction and assessment to increase student engagement and academic performance. So those STAR results are going to be what's going to tell our staff, okay, what students need intervention, what students need enrichment, and then how do we progress monitor those. Educator effectiveness, the third one, is the teacher evaluation tool that the state has adopted. So we are, as a school district, will consistently implement across all grade levels the state's educator effectiveness model. The target that we're hoping to do with that is using consistent forms across district-wide and providing effective feedback to our staff on what best practices are.
So educator effectiveness is their evaluation tool.
It is partially evaluation tool. It is also just that that feedback that makes the students or the teachers look at their practices. Part of that would be developing a student SLO, student learning objective. So you take a targeted group of students that you're going to focus on throughout the year, and you progress monitor them throughout the school year then on how they are doing in terms of the assessments. So, did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then the fourth one is NextPath. Staff will use NextPath, which is a data warehouse tool, to make decisions on instruction and assessment for each student. This will capture all of our assessments, our formative assessments that the teachers give to our students. So forward exam, our access scores, STAR, as well as I believe Ames Web is in there as well. And then PLCs, which stands for Professional Learning Communities. This is one that is still a work in progress. We had a great discussion this evening as an administrative team on working through some of the fine tunes of this, but our goal is that staff will use student data in their PLC to make informed decisions about instruction delivery and student programming. So you're probably wondering, what is the board's role in all of this? We will be reporting out quarterly to the board on our tactical planning. So I, as a district level, will report out quarterly to the board. And then when our administrators come for their monthly meetings, to the board meetings, they'll be sharing out the work that they're doing at their building levels with their staff. So you can watch for those detailed reports to come. And the last is any questions that you have.
So would it be to our advantage as a board to develop a measurement tool so we know whether or not we're hitting our mark on all of these issues?
Probably.
Okay, that's something we can do. I think that's how we're gonna be able to progress monitor.
Mhm.
If we don't have those in place, we won't know.
Correct.
And I can help.
Yep. But I think that would be our next step.
Kathy, Michael, anything you want to add?
Just, I guess from a third-party perspective, the work that has gone into what you see has been pretty tremendous. The commitment to attend all the evening meetings, the planning meetings that were put in place to get ready for the meetings, the follow-up to make any edits or changes based on input from the community and staff. It's been a tremendous process, and we appreciate the work of Mr. Brinkman and all the administrative teams and staff in the community. It's been really amazing to sit and look at it, and now to look back in retrospect on how far everybody has come since the initiation of the process. So we are very impressed, and we hope you are as well.
I think Jesse's draft tactical plan is an aggressive one. If Algoma hits marks on these things,
future of kids.
And we have you for another year, correct? Where you're coming in and coaching the administrative team as to how to read the data and how to move it a little, or come up with a common instructional device, for lack of a better word, for the staff to use.
We'll be back again on the 3rd, and we have a virtual planning meeting between now and then as well, so.
We won't see you, but the
No.
staff will.
The staff,
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Any other questions?
Good.
All right, then we will move on to the building department administrator report.
All right, so I'm gonna
Gifted and
start us off
talented.
here with this. First item is our gifted and talented handbook presentation, and I gotta find it right. So there's a slideshow here.
Is that your dinner?
This work began, I would say maybe a year ago already, when we hired Linda Leba as our new gifted and talented teacher, as well as math interventionist for the district. She came in and just kind of just took things and just started running. It was great to see the work and the excitement that she had. In conversations that Linda and I and Katie, Survey, and Marie, we kind of had about is we don't have any framework, we don't have any guidelines around gifted and talented. There is a policy that we'll talk about, but there's really nothing outlining how do students qualify, what types of services are they getting. And so the work that Katie and Linda have done with what you have in front of you is shared, has really kind of taken off, and I think will move the district in the right direction for our GT program. So, Katie, anything you want to add?
No, I think, I just wanted to give a shout out to Linda for all the work that she has put into this. Much like they were talking about the tactical plan, Linda put a lot of time into, just kind of putting to words and articulating what the district is already doing, and also kind of aiming and looking ahead at what additional resources we can connect, all of our different learners with. So, thank you Linda for all of your work on that.
So, two things. You have the slideshow shared with you, but the actual handbook is also linked to the agenda. It's got a yellow cover background to it. So. All right, Linda, I'll be your driver, so you tell me when to go to the next slide, okay?
Good. Yeah, I was going to introduce myself. So I went to Algoma. I graduated in 2002, and I attended Silver Lake College. I have middle childhood through early adolescence, adaptive and natural science degree. I've coached, chaperoned. That's why I look like this. I'm chaperoning the out west trip. I've been hiking and sweaty. Quick snuck out to come to the meeting. I also open enrolled my children here. We live technically in the Southern North District. Not right away after I came here to the teaching, and I brought my kids here. I started working here, I believe it was 2013. I did first grade for many years. Then when Ms. Kloss retired, we struggled to find like a health and wellness with an education teacher, so I volunteered for that. That was COVID year, so that got cut short. And then I went into third grade for a couple of years. And then I've done math intervention and gifted and talented for the past 2 years. So I was just gonna kind of give an overview. So like what are gifted and talented students? So those are some things that people can learn very quickly. And then the state identifies 5 areas that they can be identified in. So general intellectual ability, academic areas, it can be very specific, math, science, social studies. Creative or productive thinking, which is, kind of a little bit different way of thinking about somebody being gifted and talented. Leadership, and then the visual and performing arts. So
students who would fall into the gifted and talented category, they kind of look like that. You know, they have overwhelming curiosity, excellent memory, they ask deep questions, they're very independent in their thought and actions, high interest in a specific area. Some of them, you know, the highly developed sense of fairness and justice is kind of a lot of black and white sometimes, and perfectionism. Okay. So this is the state rules. It was kind of outlined there. There's the 5 areas. Each school has to have a coordinator. You know, you have to have programming, multiple measures of identification, and parent participation. So I actually attended the WATEG conference the past 2 years, and this slide, they shared out with us to share it to other people. So that's where I got that one. That's why that's a little different. And this is one of the biggest barriers that I've come across so far. The past way of thinking about gifted and talented was you identify them, do they qualify, and there's a program, like the program. Is my kid in there or is it not? But now best practices, it's changing. They're looking at talent development models. So that is, it says talent grows with effort, practice, encouragement, and opportunity. You know, that you do lots of different things to help them. And we really need to look at just what the child needs versus is it just a program and they get this. And then they recommend having a menu of advanced options. So I'll go through that a little bit more. So then last year, when I first started this, I was like, okay, I need to have like a plan. I need to organize myself, think about what we need to do. And this is just what I created for myself. So the first year I just joined the networks, I attended conferences, I met with the past UT coordinator. I just, that launched, that's what I did. And then this past year, then I worked on creating the handbook and continuing and adding more things. Next year, my focus, I want to get more community involvement. This is like the plan initially I created, which can be adjusted, and then continuing to grow. And they offer a Wisconsin grant. I thought about doing it this past year, but it is very intense. But I really would like to do that. It's a lot of time and effort, so it's a future goal. So this is the philosophy that is in the handbook. That talent can emerge in any student at any time. Differentiated, advanced, and enriched opportunities must be provided. Nurture students' strengths and passions. Support academic, social, and emotional development. Encourage lifelong learning, creativity, and self-advocacy. And this is the hard part. Our program is responsive, but fluid and flexible to it and like what the student needs. So it's see a need, serve a need. It's not just, like I said, black and white. It's very, going to be very fluid, which you'll see coming up in the slides. To meet which is the requirement, the identification process, we use the universal screener, standardized tests, teacher recommendations, parent input, students can request, and then just performance data, classroom data. So this is really old. I think it came in 2008, but I kind of like the way you think about it, like RTI and the gifted and talented model. So right in the middle is tier 1, that's all students. Right? So all students should get differentiated lessons. And then as you go out to tier 2, both sides, BT and for RTI or the MS or EMLSS also, it's like classroom modifications. Special ed teachers help core classroom teachers. I help the classroom teachers. And then at the very end, which is a very small chunk, where students would have an IEP or a DEP or an advanced learning plan, is that small chunk. So kind of just shows you. So this is some stuff that we already do and will continue to do for Tier 1 Universal. The classroom-based stuff, I don't want to have to read everything, but you can take a quick look. We did a test for curriculum compacting in 6th grade. Mrs. Harmon and I worked at taking their math and doing 2 years in 1 year. So, and we had 4 successful students complete it. And like I said, with the ebb and flow, we started with 4. One, it was not a good fit, so stopped. And then another one came into play later in the year and then caught up and did all the work again. So, yeah.
Now what will happen to them next year?
We worked it out that they go right into 8th grade math.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Which is not easy.
Yeah,
With scheduling, but.
wow.
So, yeah. So, yeah, so Lindsay Armin taught like double, regular classroom and the small group, so she did a really good job with that. Yeah, and then just the talent development, you know, enrichment groups, project and problem-based learning, all that kind of stuff that we already do with the whole class. And like I said, Tier 2 is that middle one. It can be push in or pull out, or just grouping students. I take a bunch of students throughout the year to workshop attendance. They don't have to, like I said, that's not really like fluid, like they're not just in Gifted and Talented program. These students are really excel at writing, so I take them to a writing workshop. You know, these are math. I just kind of pull all over throughout the year. Adjusted pacing, you know, going quicker. So that's all stuff that we do within the regular classroom. And like I said, Tier 3 is that tiny end of the spectrum where we can do subject-specific acceleration, our whole grade, but those are bigger processes, a lot more documentation. Or like that group, like the early access, where they get into 8th grade math ahead of time. Our high school does an amazing job at dual enrollment already, so early graduation. Yeah, so I just made a list of stuff, like a short list, there's more in here, of stuff that we do. When I went to those workshops, I could not believe how advanced we were in all we offered already compared to other schools. Like, I was amazed at what we do and offer students throughout all grades. So, yeah, but this is at the high school. I just did it. And there's so much more. Like, it's ever changing. Like I said, now we have cheer, or we have, you know, random stuff all the time coming and going. Yeah, like I said, Algoma does a great job already. Like, I did not do all this, Algoma did it already. Like, it was pretty amazing what we do. Yeah, and then I added, the middle school, high school is gonna have a intervention enrichment hour, so that's exciting, so we can do a little bit more. At the elementary level, we already have paw time, so that was differentiation for enrichment, and I believe we're gonna have like the specials teachers even help more next year, so we have more hands on deck to give more small group enrichment or differentiation. And that I get to go to these trainings and learn. I'm part of the CISA 7 group, which is amazing, and a lot of school districts don't allow their students or teachers to go, so I appreciate that too, because it helps students. Any questions?
What grade levels are a lot of the kids, like 3rd grade kind of starting, or 5th grade, or, I mean, it can be any time, but.
It can be. You noticed it a little bit more second and up. There we go. We're looking at adapting the COGAT test, which is in 2nd grade, and that just gives a little bit different way to identify students. Yeah, for the workshops, it's like fourth through middle school is what the CISA really focuses on, just because they don't have as many opportunities as high school.
I know we're gonna talk about approving the handbook. I just, from a policy mindset, I wanted to comment about including the, Neola policy in here, because then when you update the policy, you need to make sure to update the handbook. So if you want to consider just linking it so that it's always the most up-to-date, that would be my only recommendation. And even if there's DPI stuff in here, maybe just linking it so that you don't have to remember to update it later. Do you see this taking up more than 20% of your time, or?
Oh, I definitely could. But I focus where I'm at. I would love to do it more. I would love to do both more. But I do feel like the 20% doesn't do it justice, but I said you always could do more.
Katie, can you comment on the differences, how the GT program has kind of evolved over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I would say that Linda kind of summed it up pretty well, pointing out like the traditional offerings versus the more flexible mindset. One thing that I think has definitely shifted is the mindset of trying to reach as many students as possible. Because really, the gifted and talented, like tier 3, as Linda was talking about, population of students that are grade accelerated or subject accelerated, is such a small population of students. But then there's a way larger population of students that have gifts in some of those different areas, even down to creativity, leadership, and things like that. So I think that has been the biggest shift as a district. And then also just in terms of process, we've been trying really hard to make it something that is well documented, something that makes sense, and something that will follow a student as they go through school. You know, where it's not like they get up to 7th grade or 8th grade and it's like, oh wow, the student is like acing all of their classes. And it's like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you, you know, so-and-so did really well for us too. So just kind of that consistency. And I think it's been really cool to see all of the different students that have been able to participate. And I'll use the example of the cheer, because you brought that up and it came up earlier. But you know, I kind of look at that as a leadership extension as well, because the students that presented it to me, they scheduled a meeting with me, they put together a slideshow, they had to coordinate with the adults, I had some questions for them that they had to go back and like figure some things out, they put a flyer together, you know, so they are taking that leadership as they were 5th grade students at the time, to kind of bring that to light. So I would say that is a huge shift, just kind of widening the kinds of things that we offer. Yeah, I would say. Would you agree with that? Yeah.
Are we pushing the students into the gifted and talented, or are they kind of deciding that they want to go that way, or how is that done?
So for like the workshops or working with me, it's, I don't force them, it's offering or I reach out to the parents.
Yep.
And ask if they would like to participate.
Okay.
We do use a lot of data too, so like the math students that
Mhm.
Linda was talking about who will be jumping to 8th grade math. If you look at their math and ELA screening assessments, I want to say they're like the 98th to 99th percentile for those subjects. So there is that data piece too that kind of sparks that at an early age.
What grade are the ones that are going into 8th grade math?
They just were in 6th grade, so they're technically only 7th grade.
Yeah.
Nice.
So most of the kids that you're catching are basically from data, or are there some kids that come to the teacher and say, this isn't hard, I want, you know, like,
I think
this isn't a
both.
challenge, or is
Yes.
it kind of?
A teacher input, parent input, kind of a little bit of everything. It just varies the degree to where they fall.
It's not that I come up and say I want to move up and then my test scores are at 40, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
stuff to back it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
See, one of the areas is like visual or performing arts. How do you measure that? There's not a test for that.
And that's why this is so hard. It's just, yeah, their interests, and if they want to participate and expand, and we give them the opportunities to go into that. We have the musicals, the one act, dance, and
Yeah.
lots of.
Some very talented band students who are in the community bands, so they're going beyond the high school to the community band. There's usually 3 or 4 at Big Key that are really gifted and are able to move on.
Well, I know we have a number of art students that are just amazing in different mediums and styles. And so, yeah, that's why I was asking, so I think that would be a hard one to try to gauge, are they gifted or?
Yeah, and that's what we're trying not to only just do data where it has to be so high, it can be, it's a fluid interest.
Okay.
Just show that they're excelling.
And that's where that talent development comes into play, and that's where we hope to eventually get to that COGAT screener, which will be given to all second graders, and we'll identify those key areas that may not come out on a math test or a reading test.
Perfect.
And lastly, I just want to say, I think so many times as schools and as a district, we focus on the opposite end of that intervention because we're always trying to get kids caught up. It's important to look at the other side at our gifted students and make sure that they're continuing to be challenged and give them the opportunities to succeed as well. So I want to thank Linda for all of her work on this and making sure that it stays at the forefront of what we're doing.
One thing Katie just reminded me too is we do have some students that are twice exceptional, which means that they are both in special education and gifted and talented, which is an added challenge.
That was another thing I was gonna ask is, just because they have an IEP, are they not being looked at? Because many of them have exceptional talents in one area or another.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is our students and co-curricular handbook presentations, and these are really informal. You have the handbooks linked on the agenda. Each administrator will kind of go through just some highlights or changes that you may have from last year versus the upcoming year. So I think elementary is first. So.
I don't know if we actually had too many changes in our handbook, besides the exception of the added cell phone policy, which was quite lengthy, but it's in there. Other than that, everything should be up to date. We didn't really have too many staffing changes that we would have to wait on getting information for. I did change the end of the day dismissal time to 3:05, so that is part of those important school procedures. I did leave a spot in there, I don't know which version you have, but just plans to put in the mission statement and mission statement.
Any questions for Katie on the elementary? All right. For Robert, go ahead.
So for the middle school, high school handbook, I actually went section by section, and I checked it for consistency with school work policies, calendars, co-curricular handbook. It went because they weren't always 100% consistent, to be honest. So, which is funny to me because we go over these every year. I mean, not funny, haha, but like, how is it possible that we go over this every year and there's still inconsistencies? That kind of funny. Some of the things that I think updated that will be of interest is the AI policy. And that, again, just try to really adopt what the school board has presented, but then also be realistic between the two handbooks, the co-curricular handbook and the student handbook, on how it's handled, because it's evolving. And it's really difficult to be consistent when the situation is not consistent, nor are the circumstances in which AI crop up consistent. So really trying to create a policy that is inclusive, but also can grow and change with the AI usage that we're seeing. Some of the language in there I just tried to align also with what was in the policy, because the language across the school board policy, student handbook, and the co-curricular handbook were not consistent with how we were referring to different things. Trying to really make that consistent. There was another, well, then of course the cell phone policy, updating that. Well, it's called the cell phone policy, the personal communication device policy. That's been updated. And then formatting. You will love this, Chrissy. I actually went through and it's been reformatted and formatted and reformatted probably for 25 or 30 years. I just took the whole thing and reformatted in one consistent way with a searchable index. And then also remove page numbers, so that the page numbers don't have to be specific. It's just section. So you can search a section, say like what page number is it on, and not having it lined up. So those are some. Is my formatting not good?
No, I only had one formatting comment, and if it's all going to be web-based, like, it might not even show up, but like, the bottom of page 18 is policy violations, but it should stay with like the paragraph, and there were a couple instances in that, but I noticed like the capital letters and the indents looked really great.
So I'll comment on that. My guess is that was done, but then we submitted them to Jesse for a cell phone policy edition, because that was the last thing he added. That probably just needs to be done one more time.
Yeah, just gotta hit an enter in there, but.
He's not done yet.
Okay.
Just do that.
No, the content is done, but of course,
And when you change it into website based, when we look at it in PowerSchool, is that where we, yeah, it'll probably look just fine. There's probably beautiful spacing, but it may be.
She was one of the gifted and talented in the
which I'm glad.
English.
Because I'm not gifted or talented. I did go over also academic, what academic fraud is or is not, and that kind of coincided with the AI thing. The overarching principle that has been adopted in all of, or both the handbooks, is unless it's explicitly told to the students that they may use it, it is not allowed. So that's the baseline rule, and then we'll deal with everything else as it comes up. But that's probably the most important thing in there.
Any questions for Mr. Robertson? Ms. Horn?
Yes. You might not have the most updated one. I did add in our volunteer hour requirement. Yep. But the main things that were changed, we updated the requirements for graduation with the amount of credits that the kids will need, starting with the class of 2027, 2028, 2029, and beyond. I added in the industry certification and internship requirement, which was not in there. I added in the volunteer hours requirement, which we will be adopting starting next year. And then the cell phone policy or the main things. And then I did go through and review all the numbers today, because I noticed they were very off with the pages versus where things were, so that got updated today. Those are the main things in our handbook.
Then I will just mention for all three of the student handbooks, the cell phone, personal communication device policies, and the Act 89 policies that we've put in place, referring to communication between staff, coach, volunteer to student, are all highlighted in the handbooks as well. So it is consistent across all of them. It is lengthy, but I took the policy, cut and paste basically language from our policy and put them into the handbook, so there is very clear expectations to our parents and our students on what what those are all about, because they are new, so. And it does outline the, I would say, progressive discipline on if a student or a staff member were to break one of those policies, on how we will respond. All right, Mr. Robertson, any more on the co-curricular and the coaches or advisor handbook?
No. We went over them, Whitney and I went over the coach's handbook, again, just checking for consistency, formatting, no, nothing other than what I went over already.
Any other questions? Admin team?
So, like the coaches and stuff, right, they have their meeting ahead of time. Are we doing anything with the incoming kids in the incoming school year, like to know what the changes are, as far as even the cell phone policy? Is there gonna be something sent out to parents?
Yes, so on the personal device policy, that will go out in a handbook, or not handbook, excuse me, in the, I'll send out a book sales that'll
Okay, yep.
highlight a lot of the changes we have. Pick up and drop off is changing for next year.
Yep.
The cell phone policy is changing. There's a whole myriad of changes that we adopted for this next year. The STAR assessment is new. So I'm gonna it'll be called changes. We'll just go through all of them, spell them out. Also, I talked to Whitney about making, how the WIA releases points of emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to emphasize the whole AI policy. Typically, our student athletes that are getting hit the most because they have the most to lose.
Yep. Yep.
So really emphasizing what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Yeah, so it is, we haven't been over that, we'll go over it again before she has that fall sports meeting to make sure that our curricular kids are like, look, this is going to be watched closely.
Perfect.
And I'll just add, parents aren't thinking school yet because
Yeah.
we're still in July, but once August hits, a date on my calendar to send an email to all parents across the whole district on what the new cell phone policy is, what our meal prices increases are gonna be, those changes that we've implemented already. The coaches meeting for the fall sports is August 3rd or 4th, I think Whitney said. I plan to attend that and talk specifically about the Act 89. That is a very hot topic right now legislatively, and I don't want any of our coaches or volunteers to do something unintentionally that could result in discipline, termination. So I want to be very clear with them on what we as a district are looking, how they can communicate with students. No longer can you use social media, your personal cell phones, things that we've relied on in the past. We have to use our district approved formats for that. And then the sports meeting for the students is following that, the coaches meeting, so I will sit in and talk to the students directly about that as well.
Perfect.
So on this, are teachers setting some sort of, like with the cell phone policy, where they can read it, yes, there's changes, but hey, you sign this?
Yep.
You're, okay.
Yep, and that'll all be part of the.
The kids do for their enrollment, when they come in, but.
Yeah, and we've had conversations at building levels on how we're gonna educate our students on the, say, for example, the cell phone policy, right? It's gonna be rough for the first couple months,
Oh, yeah.
we know that. But setting those clear expectations on day one and laying out what are those consequences gonna be for students and parents, right? They have to come get their phones.
Yep.
So, I think Mr. Robertson has some ideas on school-wide meetings and stuff, right? Or
Yeah, so we'll have a school-wide meeting right at the first day of school. We'll meet with students, we'll talk, so we'll get sent out to them, we'll talk about it, why those changes happen. We'll talk about it staffing before the kids get here that last week, so, yes, I'm aware that there are a lot of changes that need to be communicated very clearly. And I'm also aware, as Ms. Brinkman said, it's not gonna matter, we're still gonna have a rough few months to get started, and that's okay.
For sure.
creating signs, putting them in the hallways,
Yep.
Reminders,
Yep,
all that.
for sure.
You've got some ideas.
Yes, the one we saw in Madison, was that Madison?
Oh,
Sun
Sun
Prairie.
Prairie, Sun
Yeah.
Prairie, yep.
There were some
Exactly.
great signs.
Any other
Nope.
questions? All right, we'll move on to field trip procedures. So again, linked in the agenda are 3 separate documents pertaining to this. I want to first start by saying our administrative team gave them the task to go back and kind of look at our current practices with field trips, what we've done in the past, and how can we improve. We ran into some situations this past year regarding some field trips, and so we wanted to make sure we were, 1, abiding by the policy, but 2, just best practices, informing our parents and our advisors that we're going on field trips. So big kudos to our administrative team for putting this work together. I don't know if one of you or all of you want to present or share out a little bit of what we've put together.
It was definitely a collaborative effort. I know we kind of started with just getting the basis there and then just taking parts and going from there based on kind of our practices that we had in place, things that might be missing, situations that we encountered. We moved in Tori Jorgensen, the school nurse, to ensure like from a medical standpoint that we had that all in place. Really just kind of made it very detailed, but also hopefully realistic. Be a good guideline. And then Katie used her creative ability to put some forms together, using kind of what we had already established, but then also like some pieces that are helpful information, like we always run into at the elementary school, the kitchen, like making sure we know that we're communicating with the kitchen for, are you needing lunches? Transportation, making sure we're leaving in all the essentials. So, anything you guys want to add? Or?
No, it's very detailed. I think the checklist is going to be really helpful to the staff, right? It's a one page, a page and a half of just here's what you have to do. So.
That's what I was looking for. Where is that?
Do we not distribute it in the book?
Because that was going to be my suggestion, was that there is something, how do teachers know what to take with them?
I remember seeing that though.
I thought so. I know we talked about it, and I think that's the important piece, is that everyone knows what they have to submit.
I think it's on that
No.
field trip request
The
form.
field trip
I don't think
request
so.
form.
That's,
Yeah, it's pretty extensive. It's, you know, leaves it all over there.
no, there should be more, like, do they have the medical, do they have the backpack full of stuff? Do they have everything that they need? Cost estimate, copy of parent permission? I don't think
We
it's.
do have number 16 is the items you should bring, but it's not like from the request to the approval to the, it's just very laid out by what portion you're looking for.
Hopefully they will, when they do their educational purpose, it will be aligned to one of our strategic goals. Or pillars.
I have a question on page 5. It's in the transportation procedures. The second paragraph says, personal vehicles of employees, coaches, volunteers, or parents may only be used to transport students because of liability purposes. Is that supposed to say may not be used?
We agreed that may not, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, right,
That would be-
page
I
5.
have transportation section, so I.
Okay, it just was,
Just the word.
may not be used, so I would be okay with it with that update, but I was very thrown off by that one.
Mine has it updated.
Yeah, Marie just updated it.
Just updated.
Oh,
It says from the table. Mine says may not be.
oh, I didn't even have one of those in my.
I didn't
packet,
have
did
one
you?
in my packet either.
Oh, I didn't get one. Oh. No, mine didn't.
No, mine didn't have the field trip, because I looked.
Yeah.
It's got the
ended,
co-curricular, but I don't have the,
Then my other question is, Dave, are you adopting this? Because the permission slip says school district, school district, school district, except for the part that it says, I allow my student to go on Algoma Elementary's field trip. So,
I think we were gonna do separate forms.
Yep. I thought that was on there, so not bad.
okay, otherwise, if you want to keep it easy, change it to Algoma School District. And then I know a lot of the teachers, when we sign a permission slip, if we are willing to chaperone, they ask for our contact information. So I don't know if you got any feedback from the teachers, but there's a little thing in here, oh wait, I am not interested in being a chaperone, I am interested in being a chaperone, maybe there's room for a phone number in there? It says Algoma Elementary School.
Okay.
That's why I get too much time.
Oh,
Just doing my job.
Mr., can you add that to the
Yep.
phone number, please?
oh.
Yeah, we don't have this
It
printed.
is earlier, it's just earlier in the.
Oh, before gifted and talented, yeah, okay, sorry.
Yep, there it is.
But mine does not say it.
No, my.
No, neither does mine. I was looking at the athletic one, it says
Oh.
hang on.
Okay, yep. I didn't think we wanted them to be driving anywhere else. But yeah, I like it. Can we assume the teachers get permission from you guys before they would come to like the PTS and ask for money for something like this? Or is that a bad assumption to make?
I would say that's not a bad assumption to make, but I think that maybe we can outline that and make that more clear. 'Cause I don't know that we really address that.
Yeah, I see that, that's a funding
Sometimes it goes both
option.
ways. Sometimes they're like, well, I'll just ask the PTS first and see, otherwise we'll just exit. You know what I mean?
I
So-
suppose- They can't go if they don't have the funding,
Yeah.
but they can't go, if you're not
Request
approving
it
either.
unless- But, yeah, let me think on how we can add that in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Good on that?
Yep.
Okay. Back over to you, Amy.
All right. Committee reports, the charter school committee report. Hang on, let me get out of here. So on July 1st, the AVA Charter School Committee met with AVA Governance Board, and we discussed possible staffing solutions for teaching and administration positions during the 2026-27 school year. Budget discussions also were held regarding salary and benefits, and the AVA governance is going to hold interviews in the near future for open positions and make recommendations coming to the school board. So we will have that. And that was it on our charter school committee meeting. Any questions? All right, next is new business. Here we go. I will entertain a motion to approve the Algoma School District Strategic Plan.
So moved.
Second.
All right. It's been moved by Shannon, seconded by Chris to approve the school district strategic plan. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to approve the Act 12 Criminal Statistics on School Property Data Report for the 2025-26 school year. That we had that in our handout. Everyone had a chance to take a look at it.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Chrissy, seconded by Lonnie. Any discussion? I thought it was a good report, so I was very happy. Other than that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to approve the Wisconsin Model Academic Standards for the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to approve the Algoma School District's field trip procedures, field trip request form, and the field trip permission slip form.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Chris.
Is that
Discussion.
with changes?
Yes, they updated it on the fly here, so I will
Okay.
say that is updated.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, and entertain a motion to approve the Algoma School District's Gifted and Talented Handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Shannon, seconded by Chrissy. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. think we'd like to take these in a lump. Or do you want to do them separately? Okay. We're going to I'd entertain a motion to approve the following handbooks: the Algoma Elementary School Student Handbook, the Algoma Middle High School Student Handbook, the Algoma Venture Academy Student Handbook, the Algoma School District Student Co-Curricular Handbook, and Algoma School District's Coach Advisor Handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. Any discussion, anything that needed to be changed? Nope. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to approve the baked good bid from Panagold for the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Shannon. Any discussion?
Nobody else ever bids on them? That's basically it? I mean,
That's
that's all
it,
that's out
yeah.
there?
Yeah. We sent it out to one other and they did not return a bid.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve the milk bid from Kemp's for the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chrissy. Any discussion?
Why Kim's, I mean, just because they're cheaper? Are we not happy with Prairie? I mean, it's not much
It came down to the
difference.
cost. We talked to Mary, food service director, and she said she saw no problem with going to Kemp's.
Okay,
So we would
because we've
just-
had them for years and now switched, and
Yep.
I don't know, maybe we had them before, but,
Yep,
okay.
it's cost, food service is running a
Yep.
deficit
Yep.
right now, and.
I mean, it's
small
minor,
little-
but still,
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, it adds up. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve 2 Wednesday evening concerts, November 11th, 2026 for the Veterans Day concert, and May 12th for the high school spring concert.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Shannon, seconded by Chrissy. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, next on the agenda item is request for future agenda items. Get them to me or get them to Jesse. Review dates for future meetings. Our next meeting is what,
August 24th.
August 24th.
I will not.
All right. All right, then I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session under Wisconsin statute 19.85 subsection 1 subsection C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. I need to take a roll call vote. Shannon?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Lonnie?
Yes.
Me? Yes. Chrissy?
Yes.
Yes. All right, motion carries. We are in executive session at 7:30 p.m.